The language of narcissists. This is Luminousz. Welcome to the channel. All of my current subscribers. Mwah! Thank you guys and gals so much for your subscription. I also want to give a shout out to my subscribers who are my stars, and thank you all for sharing your stories. You never know who is resonating with your stories. You are also inspiring others to thrive forward past narcissistic abuse when you share your stories. If this is your first time visiting Luminousz, welcome to the channel. Topics of discussion. The narcissist's rules of engagement often involves an attempt to use curse or foul language. Topic number 2. Part of the crazy making by narcissists are their communication styles. Next topic. The language and communication style of narcissists are effective byproducts of the gaslight technique. Last and final tool are the tools, references, and resources of which you can find in the description box below. Please like and or share today's video. The narcissist curse language. Manipulation, deceit or lies, insults, cursing or using bad words, character assassination, smear campaigning, gossip, and spreading rumors. All of this is under the curse or cursing other people in order to get a lifelong source supply. So let's look at a few of these. It's more than this, but I just wanted to name a few. Let's look at manipulation. This is one way that the narcissist curses other people in order to obtain source supply. Deceit is another way. Or they keep telling you lies. Or they will give you half-truths. They will insult others, calling them out of their names. Again, all of this is another way of cursing people in order to obtain source supply. Character assassination. The character assassination that the narcissist will use is in order to get other people to believe and or think that the targeted prey is a person who is a very undesirable and unfavorable person. In other words, they are the narcissist and the narcissist is them. So it's like they're swapping, the narcissist's way of swapping identities with the targeted prey. The targeted prey more than likely is a person that is not like the narcissist. The narcissist is probably jealous of the person. Those are one of the 4 emotions that I mentioned in a previous slide in this video. Jealousy is one of the emotions that narcissists have no problem expressing or feeling. So if jealousy is one of the emotions or feelings that the narcissist has for the targeted prey, then this is where the character assassination will come in. They will try to convince others that the targeted prey is a very unfavorable and undesirable person because he or she is not trustworthy, when that is not usually true. However, the narcissist is the one who's usually not trustworthy. But due to manipulation, they usually are successful in getting certain other people to go for the BS. In other words, they go for the lie. There's the other curse, deceit or lies. So the narcissist is usually successful with this. Not all the time, but they usually are. Then you have the smear campaigning, which is very similar to the character assassination. The narcissist and or cluster personality is attempting to make the targeted prey or current source supply a person who is very untrustworthy or very unfavorable or very undesirable. The narcissist and the cluster personality is cursing the individual in order to obtain source supply from the individual, as well as others who go for the lie or go for the character assassination and the smear campaigning. In other words, they believe the narcissist lies. All of this is right up under the umbrella of cursing, gossiping, and spreading rumors. In other words, again, telling lies and manipulating others, and all of this is for source supply. So this is how the narcissist curses others in order to obtain source supply. Unfortunately, when it comes to the narcissist and or cluster B personality, this goes on way too often. The narcissist and the cluster B personality, they are very good at cursing or attempting to curse others. This is not to be tolerated, actually. Unfortunately, there are some who tolerate it because the narcissist and a cluster B personality, they're very good at making themselves look like, again, here's the manipulation and the deceit. They're very good at making themselves look like they can benefit the source supply and benefit others that they do manipulate. They pass themselves off as a trustworthy person or a person who's loving and caring when that is not true. And the people who really are trustworthy and loving, they are looked upon as if they're the narcissist. This again is how the narcissist curses others or attempts to curse others. And all the while, they get the source supply.
Next point. Out of the 4 communication styles, narcissists often favor aggressive and passive aggressive. Unfortunately, an effective aspect of the narcissist's crazy making is how very clever and skillful he or she becomes with the use of their tone of voice along with certain gestures, key phrases, and words. Applying Neuro Linguistic Programming is a diabolical tactic that some narcissists will often use when communicating with various targeted prey in order to bait them for gaslighting. Let's move forward.
When it comes to narcissists, they tend to do the opposite. They do not see, they don't see anyone else's point of view. You know why? Because they don't want to. They don't want to, because what they say is law, what they say is gospel, and let's face it, they're God. Okay, according to the narcissist, they're God. In their mind and their perception of themselves is that there's everyone else down here and who's inferior, and they are superior. Okay? Now, narcissists, they don't tend to see anyone else's point of view in a conversation. Not only that, they're not fully present in the conversation. They're not very interested in who you are, what you think, and how you live, and how you feel. They don't really care about that, right? They're not interested in connecting with you on a verbal level or an emotional level. They're not interested even on a spiritual level to, feel you and vibe with you. Narcissists don't do that. They're not interested in intimacy or the connection. So, effective communication, you have to have that in order to have intimacy. You have to have that in order for there to be a connection. However, narcissists, they go against that. Anything that would have very little to no communication is very good for the narcissist. They are not interested in connecting with anyone. So, if you communicate effectively, what does that involve? That also involves you opening yourself up, not only to know others, but to be known. That's something that terrifies narcissists. They don't want to be known. They don't want to be found out. All the BS that they dish out. They don't want you to know about that. You feel it and you know something's not quite right in the relationship. However, the narcissist does not want you to find out how false they really are. They're not trying to have you find out, who they really are and what they're about, because they'll blow their cover. Anyway, point number 3. Narcissists, when it comes to communication, how do they usually do it? There's a lot of sarcasm, and they usually tend to cut people off in mid-sentence sometimes. You can be speaking, and they will cut you right off. And this is also something that narcissists are notorious for. They don't let you finish your sentences. If you have a thought and you want to express it, the narcissist is going to see to it that you're going to be interrupted. They will speak over you, they will talk over top of you, and they will raise their voices, and there's tending to be a lot of sarcasm in their language. Narcissists are notorious for this. And when it comes to supervisors who are narcissists, they do this a lot. They speak over top of you, and if you have a thought, they will interrupt you repeatedly, and this is very annoying. But this is the communication style of narcissists, is to interrupt, is to make sure that they will subtly, or in a subtle way, they will not only interrupt you, but they will also insult you. They may say something in a joking manner, and you feel insulted, and you kind of think, and you second guess yourself. So the narcissist, this is what they aim to do, to get you to second guess yourself and not to really realize that they just insulted you. And you're more than likely not going to defend yourself because you question whether you were insulted or not. Now, a lot of narcissists, again, they are notorious for that type of communication style. They will say something to insult you, and they will try to gloss it over, and like they were joking, right? But we all know that narcissists, those of us who have been dealing with them for a long time, we know that they are insulting us, but in a subtle way. It is during the crazy-making diabolical tactic of gaslighting that the narcissist attempts to influence others to doubt their sanity, intuition, confidence, and instinct. What often takes place prior to the gaslight technique is the twilight zone effect. The lines of reality and fantasy not only becomes blurred to the narcissist, it can also become blurred to the targeted prey for various reasons. Now, I want to make something very clear. The narcissist and clustering personality, they are usually in control when they are engaging in diabolical tactics, such as gaslighting others. Okay, so when the lines of fantasy and reality become blurred for the narcissist, it is because they suffer from delusions of grandeur, of their mortality, of them being a human being, having a human experience, and facing uncertainty. See, the narcissist thinks that they are perfect. They're invincible. So they suffer from delusions of grandeur. So when things happen, or when things don't go their way, they like to project this onto others. The gaslight technique is one way that the narcissist expresses their displeasure, or their frustration, or their narcissistic rage. And when the mask has slipped off, they think they're perfect. So when things happen, that usually happen for the rest of us, right? Such as losing a job, facing rejection, or being disappointed. The narcissist doesn't take that very well. They don't think that they think they are above that. So when it happens and it bursts their narcissistic bubble, right, they're ready to go on the rampage. Gaslighting others is one technique, again, that they use to express that narcissistic rage. So the lines become blurred. The lines of reality and fantasy become blurred for the target prey because all of the love bombing, all of the promises the narcissist made, the narcissist seducing him or her, coming off like they're the perfect person, right? Now, this is all coming to a crashing halt. Now the narcissist's mask has slipped off. The target prey doesn't know what to think or do. The target prey is like an animal who's been ensnared in a trap, and no matter how much they struggle, they don't know how to get out. Okay, so this is how the lines of fantasy and reality become blurred for the target prey. When the lines of reality become blurred, it is when that person is in the twilight zone. So this is the twilight zone effect, which is the prerequisite to, or this is what comes before the gaslight techniques. All right, so the twilight zone usually is very effective for the narcissist and clustering personality, because now the target prey, it's like they're surreal, they don't know what's going on, they're confused, they're in love with this person, or they love this person, and they can't believe that the narcissist is behaving this way. The mask has slipped off. The narcissist is behaving like a person who is just enraged, right? So this is surprising to the target prey. The rug has been pulled out from under him or her. They're suffering from cognitive dissonance now and denial. So the lines of fantasy and reality have absolutely become blurred, and they are right in the middle of the twilight zone. The narcissist and cluster personality is going to move right into the gaslighting technique once they find and they see that the target prey is in the twilight zone, because now they're primary for the gaslighting technique. The narcissist and cluster personality, they will be relentless with this. And before you know it, the target prey will question their sanity. They're going to question their intuition. They're going to question their self-confidence. And they're going to question their instinct. They're going to be like a person holding a bag of poisonous vipers, yet they cannot let go because they're spellbound. So now the narcissist is gaslighting him or her. They can't believe what's happening. So the person, on one hand, they want to give the narcissist the benefit of the doubt. On the other, they're questioning if the narcissist really loves him or her or not. They're questioning the relationship. However, everything is so surreal that it's unbelievable. They don't want to believe that this is happening, but it is. So the person is absolutely having a war within themselves. They're having a real war inside of themselves, in their own consciousness, in their hearts, maybe even in their core, their souls, their spirits, their energy body. They're really having this war raging inside of them. On one hand, they want to keep the narcissist around, and on the other, reality is showing them that it's probably not going to be in their best interest to do so. This is why it is so easy for the narcissist to unleash the gaslighting techniques upon that person once they know that they have them in the twilight zone. The twilight zone is when the person is questioning what is real and what isn't real. So the narcissist and cluster personality, they're going to milk that for what it's worth. So they have totally convinced the target prey that they are a loving person, that they are worthy of the benefit of the doubt. They're worthy of a second or a third chance. Okay, so this is what we're talking about here, that the narcissists, they're delusional about only being human, while on the other hand, they convince target prey that they're above human, they're superior, even to the target prey. Unfortunately, the target prey is probably going to believe this. So they're sort of at the mercy of the narcissist and cluster personality. So even though this person is being gaslit, yeah, they're going to think that the narcissist is probably worthy of their love. They're going to be quite confused at this time. And they're going to want to give the narcissist the benefit of the doubt, more than likely. The narcissist and cluster personality, they're very good with charming others. They're very good with the seduction. So more than likely, they have totally convinced the targeted prey that they are something that they are not. That they're more loving than they really are. That they really do care for the targeted prey, when that is not true. When they only see the targeted prey as narcissistic supply. So the narcissist is delusional. Due to the target prey's hunger for approval, love, validation, and connection, he or she will be at the narcissist's mercy to make sense out of the crazy making. Once the twilight zone takes effect, it is fairly easy for the narcissist to play with the mind and or the heart of the targeted prey in the guise of gaslighting them. The contrast of fantasy and reality becomes more challenging to detect.
Tool number 1, cut communication short with narcissists and or cluster personality types in your life. See, this is going to be a little bit difficult for some of us who have been in a long-term relationship with the narcissist and or cluster personality. Now, that can be a romantic relationship or that can be a family relationship. The reason being is because some of us are still emotionally invested in the cluster B personality and or narcissist. So to cut communication short with him or her is probably going to bring on feelings of guilt. We've become so accustomed to pleasing the narcissist and or cluster B personality. In other words, supplying them. So when we start to reclaim our lives and when we start to tap into our personal power again, This is going to feel a little bit unusual, and this is understandably so. If you feel like you need a break, whether it's an emotional break, a mental break, a psychological break, a spiritual break from the dysfunctional relationship with him or her, again, this is perfectly natural. This is perfectly normal because you've been under so much emotional stress being in a dysfunctional relationship with the narcissist and cluster B personality. So when it comes to cutting the communication short, this is your choosing to engage in your choice, your free will to choose to take care of yourself, to practice self-preservation, which is quite natural. Being with a narcissist and cluster B personality can be quite draining, not only spiritually and energetically, but emotionally, sometimes even psychologically. It can be draining. So cut communication short with narcissists and cluster B personalities. So take a little time out, give yourself permission to have that time away from them if you need it. Even if they come by and see you unannounced. This is another thing that cluster B personalities and narcissists like to do. They like to drop by unannounced. Sometimes they'll call you in the wee hours of the morning. I've gone through all of this. And they don't consider your boundaries, your personal boundaries. This can be very draining. Cut communication short with him or her if this is necessary for you. Let's move forward. Tool number 2, take steps to do what you enjoy without inviting the narcissist. Give yourself permission to discontinue to make the effort to contact the narcissist. Forget those so-called special dates that the narcissist uses as excuses to engage in diabolical tactics to get more narcissistic supply from you. It might take some patience and practice to do this. Okay, so again, a lot of us who have had long-term relationships with narcissists and cluster B personality types, this is going to take some time, it's going to take some practice, and it's going to take some you're being patient with yourself to pull off. Because a narcissist and cluster B personality, they can pull at your heartstrings sometimes. And before you know it, you may feel guilty just for wanting a little bit of time to yourself. So there's nothing wrong with taking steps to do what you enjoy in life without inviting him or her. This may, again, start to have you feeling guilty. I've gone through all of that. And this is because a person becomes accustomed to supplying the narcissist and or cluster B personality. So when you make that transition, or when you start to change how you are in the relationship with him or her, not only will the cluster B personality and or narcissist detect that change, but you may feel guilty before it's all said and done. The narcissist and cluster B personality, they're not thinking about what a toll is taking on you to be involved with him or her. You have to snatch that little bit of time for yourself. You have to go ahead and save yourself. I hate to say that, but you're going to have to do that. Sometimes some of us who are involved with narcissists and cluster B personalities, we come to that realization. We face that reality, taking off the rose-colored glasses, and we get it. It's like you have to save yourself. The narcissist and cluster B personality, they're not going to be thinking about how you're being adversely affected by being involved with him or her. So you have to take those steps to do what you enjoy without inviting them sometimes. Everybody needs a mental break. Even when it comes to our jobs, sometimes we need a mental break. This is not any different when it comes to the narcissist and cluster B personality. So taking that mental break, psychological break, emotional break, spiritual break, and even the physical break from him or her is quite natural. Actually, some of you have already gone through this, but due to guilt, you backed off. You continue to put up with the shenanigans. And not only that, unfortunately, you continue to put up with a lot of things concerning the narcissist and cluster B personality. Now, I'm not judging. I'm just telling it like it really is, okay? I've gone through this. Sometimes we give too much to the narcissist and we're left drained. And what do we have to show for it but poor health? So start, enjoy yourself without including the narcissist. But once you start doing that, you'll become accustomed to practicing self-preservation. And before you know it, your health may also improve. let's move forward. Remember that the main goal of most narcissists are to control others while obtaining narcissistic supply. It's not very difficult for narcissists to use foul language, profanity, manipulation, and deception in attempts to control others. Usually, the type of communication style that a lot of narcissists favor, as I stated before, are the passive-aggressive types of communication style, as well as the aggressive communication style, because this serves their purpose, which is to obtain narcissistic supply from you. So if they're interrupting you in mid-sentence repeatedly, they're getting narcissistic supply from that. When you're being insulted repeatedly, whether it's in a subtle manner or even blatantly, the narcissist is obtaining supply from that. Even when the narcissist is giving you the silent treatment, they're choosing not to talk to you, they're choosing not to speak with you, they're choosing not to hear you out. All of that is narcissistic supply, and this reinforces their strong sense of control, if not entitlement. So not only are they obtaining narcissistic supply, they're obtaining fuel, as well as that strong sense of control. Remember, even the communication style, as well as the language that the narcissist and or close personality chooses, they're also obtaining the narcissistic supply. References and resources are in the description box below. I'm Luminousz Star. I want to thank everyone for joining me today or tonight. Of course, wherever you may be, I wish you the very best love possible. Until next time, take care of yourself and stay tuned for more vlogs and stay tuned for more videos.